And we are learning more about new research from a prominent medical journal. It found a sharp increase in the mortality rates of ICE detainees. The findings are especially concerning because there's been a major reduction in facility inspections in just the last year. Let's bring in CBS News immigration correspondent Camilo Montoya-Galvez. Camilo, thank you for joining us today. What did you learn from these findings?
Good morning, Mugo. That is completely right. More than 30 people died in ICE custody last year in 2025. That is the highest tally in the agency's history since fiscal year 2004, over 2 decades ago. And so far this year in 2026, less than 4 months in, 16 people have already died in ICE custody. And so ICE, Mugo, is on pace to surpass that tally from last year and potentially set a new all-time high in the number of immigrants dying in its custody. Now, the sharp increase in detainee deaths is coming, we should note and underscore, as the agency ICE is holding and detaining a record number of people in detention facilities across the country as part of President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. Now, that number has decreased in certain weeks after reaching 70,000 detainees a few months ago. That was a record high, but it is still at a historically high level, Mugo. That is one partial explanation. But what this study by the Journal of the American Medical Association has found, and our CBS News data team has confirmed, is that even when accounting for the record detention levels, Mugo, the mortality rate in ICE detention is the highest it has been in years.
Wow. And so could any of these deaths have been prevented with better care or even better insight? Better oversight, I should say.
It's a critical question, Mugo. Every single case will have to be investigated on a case-by-case basis, but the context here is important. Over the past year, we have seen multiple reports across the U.S. of substandard conditions in ICE detention, including reports of overcrowding, inadequate medical care, and also insufficient food and water. Also, because of Trump administration policies, it is now increasingly difficult, Mugo, for people in ICE custody facing deportation to be released on bond. And so the time people are spending in custody in ICE detention is going up. That is also a factor. The report also notes that early on in the second Trump administration, the Department of Homeland Security gutted and scaled back some of the internal watchdog agencies that historically have inspected detention facilities and conducted oversight. And lastly, I should underscore, Mugo, that the Department of Homeland Security has routinely and repeatedly denied any allegations and reports of substandard and poor conditions inside of ICE's detention system, and has maintained that the medical services offered by the agency are, according to the agency, the best health care that many detainees have ever received.
And Camilo, I'm curious, is that their recent response to this research, or have they not talked about this new study just yet?
That is the generic response that DHS has had every single time somebody has died in ICE custody, or when officials or advocates at the local level have reported about substandard conditions.
Have they had anything to say about this research?
Not that I am aware of so far, Mugo.
Okay. Camilo Montoya-Galvez, thank you so much for your reporting.